let's do this brief. Here's Steve Doocy. You know, one of the things about the Republican, and right now, Mitch McConnell, remember, the negotiations were going on between Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin. And Donald Trump's been saying, like, we really don't need to do anything. I think we're fine. And I think Donald Trump's getting that. I mean, I think Donald Trump's getting played a little bit, frankly, by the Senate Republicans. You recall there was reporting, I don't know, about 3 or 4 months ago that were basically saying if things look like they do now after Labor Day, the Republicans maybe are going to cut a little bait. I don't think they're going to do so publicly. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it publicly in any way because they're all afraid, because their voters are all still Trumpistas. But that means they're going to start to plan for a Biden administration. And what that means is they are not looking to save anything. So Senate Republican leaders are preparing to offer a $500 billion relief package that will include extended payments for unemployed people, but it'll be smaller, and small business. The measure is going to include $10 billion for the post office, which is not enough for long-term fix. And then they are hoping for negotiations over a far larger coronavirus bill expected to resume after Labor Day. So the idea that the Senate Republicans would pass something now, of course, is just their way of saying, like, if Trump looks like he's losing after Labor Day, we don't have to go back into these big negotiations. We got enough just to cover us and make it look like we've done something for the next month or two. So that they're trying to protect some of their Senate seats. That's the game. We will see if the Democrats are too short-sighted to realize that. The way they've been playing, it's total prevent defense. But here's Steve Doocy on Fox and Friends sitting down with Liz Cheney and talking about his concept of the economy. I mean, I want you to think about, like, for a moment, what does the economy mean to you? Like, when people say the economy, what does that mean? It doesn't mean like when we talk about a good economy, what do we want the economy to do?
The numbers get bigger on CNBC.
Well, for some people, I mean, that's my point, is that I think when most people think like I want a good economy, that means that my family and my neighbors and everybody else's family are able to make enough money without having too much stress to be able to provide for their families food and shelter and maybe, a couple of weeks of vacation, that's it's the well-being of as many people as possible in the country should be the measure of how the economy is doing. But for some people, it's something different. And here's Steve Doocy to sort of stumble over that.
Congressman, the number one issue facing America right now,
pause it for 1 second.
The coronavirus.
I just want to make it clear that Liz Cheney is a congresswoman. Let's start again.
Congressman, the number one issue facing America right now, obviously the coronavirus. When the coronavirus really hit and we realized things are going to have to get shut down for a while, the stock market absolutely tanked. Yesterday marked the end of the shortest bear market in history because, just like the president said, it was going to be a V. It went down and it has gone clear back up. It's right on the edge of record highs as well. And one of the things the Democrats for the last couple of months have thought, okay, Donald Trump's not going to have the economy to run on. But right now, aside from the unemployment, which is still staggering, the economy is doing okay.
Well, look, and I think it's absolutely clear to the American people, the Democrats have combined the failed policies of the past with this fraud of socialism that they see as our future. And if the Democrats prevail, we will not have an economic recovery. Every single policy that they've put forward is one that will make it much, much more difficult for us to recover from the pandemic, to get the economy back going again where we need it to be. The economic policies that we've seen from President Trump and from the Republicans in the House and the Senate over the course of the last 3.5 years, the cuts in regulation, the cuts in taxes, those are the kinds of things that we've got to see to bring this economy back again, to get people back to work. Socialism, which...
Okay, whatever. The point being that the only thing that they're sort of assessing is the economy, is the stock market. And then, there's a lot of the millions of people out of work. But aside from that, like we know that 80% of the stocks are owned by something like 20% of the people. And that fully 60% of the country doesn't even participate in the stock market. This is the vision of, well, certainly on Fox. They're just naked about it. At least the Democratic Party pays some lip service. And I'm not sure how many of the people in the Democratic Party fully believe that the economy should be measured as to how it functions for the greatest number of people. But on Fox, they don't even pretend. And to hear Liz Cheney just wax poetically about socialism.
It's amazing how they've been talking about this as the Democrats have Colin Powell and John Kasich speak at the convention.
Well, they're desperately trying to do, that's what they're desperately trying to do. And that's what the Democrats are running on, this complete prevent defense. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And that is, all of us who really know something about the prevent defense know that that is not a winning strategy. Now, in this instance, it might be. Broadly speaking, when you've got a coronavirus,
sometimes the lead is big enough.
Sometimes the lead is big enough. And I don't know, we'll talk about that. I watched the convention, and I just wonder, what would they have done if there was no coronavirus? Now, they would have come up with something. But I wonder I wonder how much that has contributed to this prevent defense. But we'll talk about that in a moment.